This is Michael Orrell of MobileBurn.com and AndroidAuthority.com, and today we're going to take a look at the new Sony Ericsson Xperia X10. It's the company's first Android-based smartphone. Let's see, take a quick look at the box here. Nothing too special about it, except it is sealed, so we're going to use the trusty X-Acto knife and cut it open and take a look and see what we've got inside. Up front and center, of course, is the phone. It's all wrapped in, tightly wrapped in plastic here. There it is. Very pretty device. We'll set that aside for now and see what else is in the box. It's got the battery here. Let's see if it says a size on it. It does. It's a 1500 milliamp hour battery. Pair of headphones. Pull those out. Oh, bags inside of bags. There you can see the 3.5mm headphone jack. And this appears to be the adapter that includes the microphone. But unlike a lot of other Sony Ericsson products, this one also uses a 3.5mm jack. So you can use regular headphones, your own headphones, and still use this adapter to get the microphone and call end and send button benefit out of it, or you can just plug directly into the phone. Here's a USB cable. Regular USB to micro USB. And of course, here's the power plug. And so this cable is used for both power and data, connecting to a PC for data or plugging it into the charger here. So it saves a bit of cable work. We've also got the user guide. This is a big poster type thing. Let's take a look at that later. And another user guide in a different language. Something telling me to stop. There we go. It's contact information for the support centers. More important information, I'm sure it's SAR ratings, warranty, export regulations, that kind of stuff. Additional stuff in other languages. Oh, here's SAR ratings and the FCC statement. And a little piece of paper here to show you how to get the battery into the device by removing the back cover. I wanted to give you a slightly better look at the headphones. You can see that they say bass reflex here, and they have a fairly large body, along with a little port out there that might have something to do with providing extra bass response. Otherwise, fairly generic, hard plastic, or rubber, I guess. But we'll put them on later and give them a test and see how they sound. I've popped the back off of the X10 so we can insert the battery and the SIM card, but while we're here, you can see it also has a 8GB micro SD card pre-installed. So let's just toss the SIM card in here. And the battery as well. It's a 1500 milliamp hour battery. I gotta warn you, the rear cover was actually quite difficult to get off. It doesn't slide off, it snaps off, and it's kind of tough to get in there and actually grab it and still hold on to the phone and get the cover off, but eventually obviously I got it off. It seems to snap back into place easily enough. So here's the Xperia X10 itself. Let's remove the protective film. You can see it's a really massive touchscreen display here. Take a look at the external controls, what minimal controls there are actually. You can see nothing here on the left hand edge, just a nice polished metal. On the top we have a power button, a 3.5mm headphone jack, and then the covered micro USB port. I can get that out of the way there. On the right hand edge we've got the volume control, also acts as zoom for the camera, and then the camera shutter button itself. Not too much to see on the bottom other than the hole for the microphone and conceivably a lanyard fixing point as well. On the back you can see the 8.1 megapixel autofocus camera and the LED flash right underneath it. Nice soft touch paint on the rear cover, really comfortable to hold, and really smooth lines and I guess soft lines even on this phone. can see it has a very nice shape to it, and it fits very well in the hand in spite of its rather large size. Now that I've got the SIM card and battery in there, I've turned on the device. I do that by long pressing the power key up top. It'll take a little while to boot, but probably not too long because the device sports a 1 GHz Qualcomm Snapdragon processor, which is really a really fast processor. Same one used in the Nexus 1 from Google, and a full 400 MHz faster than the processor in the Motorola Droid, which is also a very quick device. You can see the custom start screen here, and notice how quickly that did boot up. Appears to be in French though. We're going to have to change that to English. This is the AT&T version of the device. Not necessarily going to be sold by AT&T, but it's configured for the 850 and 1900 MHz 3G bands. There's also a version that's compatible with T-Mobile USA's 3G network, of course, and both versions work with the 2100 MHz version network used in Europe. You can see in terms of the hardware keys, the back button right down here at the bottom right. Press that, and let's just assume that we're done here. Touchscreen is really pretty, very glossy, but very pretty. It's a 4-inch display, and it features 854 by 480 resolution. That's wide VGA, same resolution as the Droid. When you activate the device with the power button, you still have to go through this swipe procedure to unlock it. Let's look at the hardware buttons down here. Got 3 hardware buttons. This is the menu button. Pressing it brings up context-sensitive menus for whatever application you're in. Back button right here. And this button in the center brings you to the home screen, which we're already at. If you want to get to the main menu, you swipe up from the bottom. And this is an Android 1.6 device, so it doesn't have the real fancy menus like you've seen in the Nexus 1 or anything like that, but still pretty nice. And you can see Sony Ericsson's done a lot of customizations on the looks of things. You know, there's color everywhere, shading, and that kind of stuff. And even when we go into the settings screen, you'll see that this is very much not the vanilla version of Android you find on a lot of devices. Let's go into About Phone so you can verify the firmware. You can see it's the X10A, and that's running Android 1.6. Press the home button, and we're here back at the home screen. You can see there are multiple home screens. Seems to be just 3. And like all Android devices, I'm sure you can do a lot of things for customizing it. Facebook, MySpace, search, quick settings. That's one we have right here. So since I have one already, I'm just going to long press that and drag it to the trash can to make it go away. Let's see if it works in landscape mode. I doubt it will, since there's no hardware keyboard on this. I'm sure it will once we're inside the browser, but you can see I press the home key again to get back to the main home screen panel. Phone dialer application. I have to say that while the screen's quite beautiful, I haven't found it to be particularly responsive. I've had a lot of things I've had to tap multiple times. Hasn't worked out too well for me so far. You can see contacts pulled in here, a bunch of test contacts. You can search, look for John Doe. Or Jack Black. And you can mark contacts as favorites so they'll show up in this quick access screen. This is Sony Ericsson's Timescape application. It allows you to view messaging, status updates from social networks, photos, all sorts of things right in one easy central location. This view right here shows everything, but you can tap over to see just say Facebook or just Twitter updates. There's also things that show recent music you've played, photos you've taken, email messages received, and text messaging as well. I'll go back here and go through and pick a tweet from my friend Eric here. And if we tap on the infinity button, we can go back and look at all of the tweets from Eric in recent history. You notice across the bottom there are other tabs as well. While I have no calls with Eric, you can see that I did have an email message from him recently. That was at Mobile World Congress. It would also show any photos tagged with his face or call interaction, and of course call info. I'm not going to show you his personal information. Hit the back button here. The thing that really bothers me though is if you don't have a contact associated with a particular person's tweeting account, you can't look at the history. Now, my friend Peter here, I have no contact for him, but if I hit the infinity button, you'd think it would at least show me all of Peter's recent tweets, which it doesn't. It instead forces me to attach it to a contact. I don't have a contact for Peter, therefore I can't see past tweets from Peter. It's a really annoying aspect of Timescape. Another problem is just readability. If you have a tweet that's largely white in terms of the image, the white text on the white background is quite difficult to read. Also, if you tap on a message, it takes you to, instead of a full screen normal text view, it loads up the mobile Twitter site, which seems kind of absurd to me, that you have to jump out to a website in order to actually read all the tweets from that person in a nice clear fashion. That alone makes Timescape useless for me.